As you know, on March 8th, 2020, BC declared a public health emergency due to the COVID-19 outbreak. The Provincial Health Officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry, is asking all British Columbians to stay home, to self-isolate as much as possible, and when it is necessary to go out for essential activities, to stay at least 6 feet away from other people, and to not go out at all, even for necessities, if you are feeling at all unwell.
I like to think of BVP as UBC's music community. We are a club that exists for music lovers and for musicians. We try and bring people together and really just create this safe space where, regardless of what your connection is to music, you can find someone that feels the exact same way about music.
The reason I was drawn to the club is because I absolutely love music. Like, I've loved it since I was a kid. It runs in my family a lot. So BVP just seems so cool and chill, and like it seemed like this is what the university experience looks like. So that's why I was initially drawn to it.
Yeah, Goose Hunt is a music festival. It's UBC's only student-run music festival, and entirely by our student exec team. In terms of the format, usually when we're in person, it's for the last few years it's been hosted at Cooner's Pub. We usually tend to have between 7 and 10 UBC artists plus one headliner.
Within the university experience, especially at a university so big like UBC, on a typical year, students would feel almost overwhelmed by the amount of opportunities there are to like put yourself out there and make connections and make memories for yourself. But this past year, that's really been absent, and you don't really see or know of a lot of opportunities that can help you get that UBC community vibe. And Goose Hunt is definitely an opportunity that we're trying to create for UBC students solely for that purpose.
We knew when COVID started that no matter what, Goose Hunt was going to happen, whether it would be in person if things got better or virtually if it came down to it. The reason being, as we head back in in-person classes next year, half of UBC is going to be brand new. And what that's going to mean is if there wasn't a Goose Hunt this year, 50% of UBC would have no idea what BVP is and what Goose Hunt is. That's something we couldn't let happen just because of how much it means to us and how much it means to UBC's music community.
Like, Goose Hunt's coming when we have the first Pinterest board ready, because that just sets the theme for everything else. Like, the media team comes up with like the aesthetic that we want. I think we did like retro futurism in 2019.
So it's gonna be very warm and mellow. I think, to be more specific, as if you were in like the western rural area, and then you just saw the sunset or something like that, and you're beside the barn and everything like that. So it's like very warm in those ways. So for a photo shoot, I have a dedicated person. Haya's doing that right now. Kana, who is you, doing the documentary. And then Jamie and I are working on the video aspect of the Goose Hunt. So, but yeah, I think that's the best way I can describe it.
I think being able to accomplish this Goose Hunt means a lot to a lot of us. It's the one thing that we all kind of look forward to at the end of the BVP term. Even though it's online again, it might be nice to log in and have a nice chill time, just watch all these amazing artists, as well as just great music is already great on its own. But I'm really looking forward to how we unravel the social aspect of it.
For this year, what we're planning to do is like a pre-recorded, like a live stream. So we have pre-record setups for the artists, and they record on it and they just give it to us, and we just compile all the pre-recorded videos and give it as a live stream.
Oh yeah. So I'll take my chances.
bands have formed, roommates have been found. It's just BVP is something that has crafted people's entire experience off UBC. Not if you're an exec, but even if you're on the outside looking in. So it's just been like a really fulfilling experience, I think, to be a part of that process. Us BVP alumni call ourselves Geese. So it's a pretty dumb name. I don't know what the story behind that one is either, but it's cool being a goose. It's cool being part of the community.
下一站中環，乘客可以轉乘港島線往堅尼地城，或者轉乘東涌線或機場快線。Next station Central, interchange station for the Island Line towards Kennedy Town, the Tung Chung Line and Airport Express。中環呢個係荃灣線嘅尾站，多謝乘搭港鐵。中環，這是。
我係有諗過移民嘅，特別係呢2年香港嘅情況啦。不過身邊真係好多人話走咯，即係我本身家姐係都 plan 咗走啦，跟住有可能前嗰批其實少啲嘅，但係後嚟即係可能國安法之後啦，我身邊即係可能無論啲舊同事，佢哋唔係 young 嗰啲，係講緊60歲嗰啲，佢哋都係諗，佢哋都想走咯。我而家呢個 moment 都處於一個我想走，但係好驚去到又即係自己做咗嗰個二等公民俾人歧視啦。另外驚自己適應唔到咯，即係所以我覺得我未必係一炮就諗住我話我要移民咁樣樣。
我係會諗住我將來嘅事業發展未必會喺香港嘅。咁當中有幾個原因啦。咁第一個原因就係因為即係作為我哋呢一代考慮到個政治因素啦，即係例如可能中國嚟緊對於香港都係一個好高壓嘅政治嘅管制措施啦。咁可能最近呢1個月其實甚至乎人大已經係通過咗修改香港嘅立法會選舉。咁其實好多唔同嘅政治因素都令到我哋會，即係令到我會覺得香港喺政治上面嘅未來係比較暗淡無光。
好老實咁講，我自己而家嘅話係未一個具體嘅答案，因為嗰個感覺係好多嘢我以前習慣嘅，而家已經唔同晒，或者可能人講嘅語言，或者我身邊識嘅嘢，我熟悉嘅嘢，其實好多都唔一樣，因為始終我都離開咗8年，同埋啦，咁其實一個局勢其實都係我一個好其中我一個 concern 咯，我會覺得我自己其實我會要求嘅係，我想有一個可以穩定嘅地方，我可以去有我嘅生活，我可以做一啲嘢，可以講一啲嘢，而唔會去令到其他人反感，或者可以反感，但係你要有個機會，大家可以有個理性嘅溝通嘅地方咯。
我有諗過移民嘅，因為畢竟夢想中之後嘅生活咧，可能係真係生活咯，而唔係不斷忙碌咁樣返工啊，去輪奸啊咁樣咯。
香港始終所有嘢都係我熟悉嘅嘢，咁我會比較自在啲咯。喺呢度我嘅身份會係我喺呢度嘅本土人，但係如果喺加拿大咗所有嘢都唔識嘅話，而且我喺嗰度係一個異鄉人嘅感覺，即係感覺大家唔會當我係同一份子咯。咁所以我覺得香港可能會比較家嘅感覺。
自由對於我嚟講係超級重要啦，因為而家嘅香港就覺得好似要抹殺另一邊嘅聲音咁樣，就要逼你去支持另一面啦。但係如果我相反，可能去第二個國家，甚至喺加拿大嘅話，其實你反對嘅聲音可以共存咯。所以即係我就係想要一個意見共存嘅社會嘅底下，其實可以生活得更加好咯。
自由呢樣係都其實係好重要啦，我覺得係人嘅 basic 最 basic 嘅 human rights 其實自由。咁香港本身真係有嘅，都真係有啲嘢。咁但係奈何你咁嘅政治環境之下就 被消滅咗啦。咁啊，仲有就係、我覺得自由上邊咧，加拿大佢有嘅就係、例如學術自由啦，我可以寫包單，我喺溫哥華喺大學裏邊寫嘅論文應該有10幾篇係可以足以令我犯國安法嘅應該。咁但係反而喺香港嗰啲，即係喺香港嘅時候，你敢唔敢寫呢啲嘢？你敢唔敢講呢啲嘢？
大學嘅教育制度底下會慢慢對於自由個追求度大咗嘅。咁呢樣嘢係我相信以前自己係冇諗過。咁所以對於我嚟講，我只會覺得隨住年齡增長，其實真係自由呢樣嘢唔係咁容易咯。而好多地方好多世界都唔會有自由，所以亦都更加顯得，當你冇自由嘅時候，你先會知道呢樣嘢對你有幾重要。
最掛住嘅會係媽咪煮嘅餸咯，因為我之前去其他地方旅行嘅時候，一翻到嚟屋企都最想係即刻食到媽咪煮嘅餸啊、餃子啊、菜式啊，任何嘢咯。
即係移民咗翻嚟香港，一定會去青衣行一行。雖然青衣其實冇乜嘢行嘅，咁但係青衣係有個成長嘅地方啦。嗰度嘅一草一木啊，嗰個海濱啊，嗰個墳場，嗰啲大廈咧，全部都係會係我掛住嘅嘢咯。即係雖然冇咩特別嘅原因，但係就係會掛住啦，因為係成長嘅地方。
我最掛住嗰個嘢唔係嗰樣嘢，其實係嗰個回憶。而我所經歷嘅一切，其實就喺我讀中學遇到嘅人上邊。而可能某種味道或者某種氣味會帶我翻去嗰個感覺咯。
如果我離開香港，我應該會最掛住香港嘅街道。香港嘅街道嘅特色係非常之多元化。我哋以前最出名嘅就係一啲霓虹燈嘅招牌，我哋仲會有一啲好 contrast 嘅畫面，其他地方真係未必會揾到咯。同埋香港嘅街道係好多時係充滿歷史文化，即係例如我哋會有一啲街名係會用以前嘅港督去命名嘅，咁亦都會有啲街名係會好新奇啦，例如上海街、廣東道咁樣。咁呢啲亦都係我會覺得好有香港特色，而呢樣嘢我應該會最掛住。
我去咗呢邊咧，我最中意食嘅嘢咧，如果去一間即係如果喺 Richmond 度通街行咁啊，見到間港式餐廳。第一樣嘢一定會睇到就係港式咖喱，跟住叉燒飯啦。但係其實因為喺呢邊太過 craving 啦，成日都要食下學識咗自己點樣整叉燒飯嘅啦。咁就連買個叉燒咁跟住醃咗佢算。咖喱比較難整啲，咁我到唔知點解港式咖喱係有種 addiction 喺入面嘅。佢又係即係佢又辣，但係又唔會話係過分地辣啦。咁同埋佢真係佢有自己一種港式嘅特色，講唔出係嗰種咩味啦。
香港有嘅嘢加拿大冇，其實好難諗，因為唯一一樣我會掛住香港嘅嘢就係啲油雞飯，就係嗰啲燒味。
我諗咧，如果以前夠少少嘅思維，就會覺得啊，理想嘅生活可能就係安安穩穩啦，買到樓啦，咁有個家庭啦，咁好開心咁。咁其實呢一樣嘢可能。即係呢一個生活可能係甚至乎中國都做到嘅，即係只要你唔理個 political stance 或者你唔 care 你嘅自由度有幾咁大。而家我對於理想生活嘅追求係，我可以同到我心愛、我關心嘅人一齊。
咁就養隻貓啊！
山邊或者係海邊咧，有一間屬於自己嘅屋啦。
有個好美滿嘅家庭，即係純粹係。即係一個好簡單嘅生活，係我最理想嘅生活。
中環呢個係荃灣線嘅尾站，多謝乘搭港鐵。中環，這是荃灣線的終點站，謝謝乘搭港鐵。Central, end of the 荃灣line. Thank you for travelling on the MTR.
Ugh, it's like they won't leave me alone.
Right? Same with my roommates.
Jade, you're so lucky. I wish I had that much space to myself.
I mean, I'm on calls most of the time, otherwise it would get pretty boring and isolated being all here by myself.
Sorry guys,
so.
My roommates want to watch another documentary. Third one this weekend.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Stay sane, guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Right now, it's important that we find ways to stay busy and keep our minds off everything going on. And for those of us who live on our own,
living alone during quarantine is wild. Last week, I dressed up a pillow and pretended I had a study buddy.
Yep. I've bought tons of houseplants to keep myself company, and now I make them hand-lettered name cards instead of studying. Just me?
My latest hack is just sitting on the floor in some sunlight, hoping to find the motivation to write that essay.
Ah, motivation through photosynthesis.
When all your houseplants are dead, so you become the houseplant.
Basically. My
I
latest
bought
hack
tons of
is
houseplants to keep myself company. Hand-lettered
Study
name
write that
cards.
essay.
Jade!
Jade.
We're on page 86, right? Yeah. Remember those terrible vodka cookies I made? I should tell them about that. You want the first thing they learn about you to be that you can't cook? One of them makes brioche. She's probably good at cooking. Oh yeah. It's fine. I'll think of something else. What's the point of this again? I don't know. They seem fun. And they won't bring up their roommates every 3 seconds. This is all really stupid. They could be catfish. Relax, it's just a comment. Exactly. Our friends are doing their best, but I just feel like this group, we could really help each other thrive, you know? Right. The delirious strangers in the comments section. They're the perfect people to keep you grounded. Well, it sounds pathetic when you say it like that. I don't see why you're so against this. You're supposed to be the practical one? There. I did it.
Oof, I feel that.
You guys should check out my live stream tonight. It's all about baking for one.
Sweet, I'm down.
Ooh, I'm hopeless at baking, but I'll be there.
Hey guys, welcome back to the stream. So glad you could make it again. If you're wanting to bake along with me today, I've left all the ingredients linked in the description below, so you can go check that out. Let's see who's joining us today. We've got Casey. Hi Casey, hope you and family are still keeping well. Jade, so glad you can make it.
Of course, thanks for the invite.
Shout out to Mike, by the way, for making the most gorgeous sourdough.
My mother is an angelfish. My father, a wide-mouthed bass. She starts the day with soft bubbles and filtered water. with reflections of fins within 4 glass walls, and she no longer dreams of pink river dolphins and Amazon basins.
Hong Kong is very busy. There is no street that is empty. In the beginning, it was very hard to adjust. We have a cultural shock. 3 of us, Kung Kung Papa and I, live in one big room, and it was very tight. You know, at that time, there were not a lot of Chinese people, and it's just lately when there are more Chinese people come here, and then that's the Chinese culture becomes more popular. But before, there was none. When you guys little, I didn't teach you the language. A lot of people said, oh, you don't need to teach them because even if you teach them, they won't say it. They will speak English and they'll forget about their own Chinese. You know? And then also, with Daddy, I don't want to speak too much Chinese in here to make him feel left out. And besides, I figured there's no Chinese around here. In Hong Kong, all these main festivals, you have a holiday. You sit down and celebrate, and all the atmosphere is there. But in here, Chinese New Year, if you're not in Chinatown or in Richmond, you don't feel that, right? So how can I maintain that culture? It's up to you guys to search it.
He lurks solitarily in the calmest waters of BC's interior. He's got it better than those humans, but he always gets caught by their bait.
We grew up on my father's farm. It was a very difficult life. We'd have lots of food to eat, but the standard of living was very poor. This part of Slovenia used to be in Italy. After the war, there were a lot of people that were previously under Italy there. They were given an opportunity to emigrate. My parents just wanted a better life for us. There was a farmer who sponsored us from the Nelson area in British Columbia, and Dad raised a young family and lived there for maybe 30 years. After I graduated, I decided to come to Vancouver to do another electronics program and see where that would take me. I met Mum out at UBC at a ballroom dance club. I danced there a number of times and started talking more and more. And then she was working close to Kerrisdale, actually, where I lived. So we met up there a few times. I can't really say that I tried very hard to pass on any cultural identity from my background to the kids. I think mainly I was probably too busy from the commute to work and back, and just the day-to-day things that had to be done around the house and helping out, and so a lot of those things just fell by the wayside. In hindsight, maybe could have been passed on a bit more than I did.
The rest of us are supposed to be their kin, though we are not of their kind. Glossy-eyed, naive, and blind, look. We are not of their kind. We are not of their kind. We are not of their kind? I was brought up full Asian, living with Asian grandparents, living with Asian mom, and then to move from an environment like that to a place like Tsawwassen, and your family is seen as the most Asian, and then you are put in Vancouver where you're like, I'm actually not Chinese at all. That's probably where the disconnect started, because then you almost feel like a fake, because you realize you're not actually Chinese, and there's actually people who have so much more of the culture than you do, even though you feel like you had a lot of it. You lose this huge part of yourself when you suddenly feel like you have no right to be connected with that culture. It feels like you kind of have to find yourself again. What do I actually relate to? And what do I actually identify as? And I still don't know.
not knowing who my ancestors are is really frustrating, because I want to honor something. I want to honor the people who have brought me to where I am today. I have always wanted to go back to St. Peter's. It's a town where Dad grew up and where Grandpa and Grandma were born. I felt the need to experience it and just to piece the fragmented stories that have been passed down. I arrived to this village not knowing who I would find and what I would find, but when I got there and found family, and it was such a feeling of joy and comfort to know that there was a connection. Each little village has their own cemetery, and so I went and wandered each row going back and forth, and I found multiple tombstones with family members, and I remember just sitting down in front of these tombstones and crying. My ancestors have made their decisions, and now it's time for myself to make a decision of who I want to be. It's finding an identity somewhere in between.
I think I am very scared of forgetting our heritage.
Growing up mixed race, I think it hasn't really mattered to me much.
When I was growing up, I felt like I got a really good mix of the cultures. Gongong was still alive, so all our family still came over to Vancouver to visit. But I think after Gongong died, they came a lot less frequently.
I will hear names floating around like Gongong, Papa, and those don't really connect to me. I can't match a face to it.
It feels like our Chinese side of the family has drifted away, and our Slovenian side of the family has become much older and don't have time for us as much.
So it boils down to just being very secluded, I think, for us.
It kind of hurts when you want to know so much about the culture, but people either don't talk about it or don't have time for it. And I think it has more to do with the hardships they faced back in their own countries before coming to Canada, and that it's hard for them to look back at their history. And obviously I don't blame them, but it gets to a point where it feels like you're fighting for your culture. If you don't know about your past, how are you supposed to move forward with your future?
No, I don't know anything about that culture or that culture. We're just kind of in the middle.
Are you listening? 1. Amazon waters, filtered water, lake waters, makes for murky living. 2. Take my mother to the Amazon and get those hooks out of my father's waters. My family and yours are just a collection of souls, trapped inside the bodies of fishes.